皆さんこんにちは and welcome to Shogo's podcast. So everyone, thank you very much for waiting. I am so sorry I haven't been able to upload new podcasts on this channel. I was running around for a while. You probably saw my live stream of Kazu coming over to Kyoto from Hiroshima doing our intense 3-day video shooting. We actually filmed 9 videos within 3 days, and we had of course preparations for that and everything. And I'm just really sorry, but I am back, and from here I'll definitely try to post one podcast every week again. And recently it's just by coincidence, but a lot of my main videos don't have the omake talk either, so I hope the ones that'll be coming out soon will have more omake talks. Yes, but anyways, for those of you who are waiting for this, thank you so much for waiting. And yes, so the topic that I want to talk about today is actually something really, for me, it's really serious, really important. And also, I'm very sure I'm going to be making a main video out of this as well in the future. It's the same as the one where I talked about why Bushido will ruin Japan. You know, if you remember, I made a podcast first, and then eventually I made it into a full video. So it's going to be the same thing. I just want to kind of talk about it here, have you guys listen to it first, and then kind of sort out my ideas and everything that's inside my brain, my head. And I just want to, and after that, I want to make the main video. So I hope you can enjoy listening to my stories. Now, as you saw in the title and also in the thumbnail, I want to talk about my own, you can say theory, my own beliefs, my own ways of thinking that IAIDO, the katana martial art that I train in, must learn. I really think that IAIDO should learn a lot from KYUDO, which is the Japanese archery. Now, let me take you through the story as So I sometimes have occasions of going to these big trainings. Well, what should I say? It's like taking part in the trainings of different dojos, or sometimes multiple dojos get together and train together and things like that. I sometimes go to these different groups of IAIDO groups to take their trainings, kind of listen to what they usually do or what they usually train in and things like that, right? But when I do this, so it's great, by the way. I do get to learn a lot. I get to meet new people. And of course, every instructor, every master has different points of views towards IAIDO, sometimes very different from my instructor, my main instructor, my sensei. So it's really awesome. But every time I go, I always see the dark side of IAIDO too. And I have a list here. For example, when there is one master, like the main master of the dojo, standing in front of all of the students, and all the students are lined up listening to his stories of his instructions. Sometimes there are the other instructor class people, sensei, at the corner of the rooms, literally saying bad things about him or her. Like, for example, the way he teaches is not good, or that theory that she has is not really effective, and they say it in a voice that the students who are near the corner of the dojo can hear them. Yes. So they're intentionally saying these bad things to each other. Yes. That's one thing. And a second thing is, well, I should go on to the third one. I have a list here actually that I wrote down, but the third one is actually, again, kind of related to the first one, but each instructor are always like, I'm correct, I'm correct, I'm correct, So sometimes when you start learning from this one instructor during the training, with the big group, and the instructor comes up to you when you're doing your training, he teaches you something, and he's like, I saw you being trained, being instructed by that master earlier, like about a few minutes ago. That master is not a good sensei. Don't listen to him, listen to me. Okay, I'm going to be teaching you now. And for example, he teaches for me about 30 minutes. He goes and teaches a different student. After a while, there's a different sensei that comes up to me, starts teaching me again, and she says, now that guy over there that was teaching you earlier, that guy is terrible. Don't listen to him, listen to me. And seriously, they literally say these things to you. Like, they literally whisper into your ear and say these things. Yeah. And the second thing really shocks me every time. If you know about IAIDO, if you see me doing IAIDO, like in my weekly trainings, in IAIDO, there is a lot of bowing that you do, along just like other Budo martial arts in Japan. In IAIDO, we do two different types of bowing. One is towards God, and second is towards the katana. We do two kinds of bowing. And I personally see IAIDO as a way for me to practice Zen. Yes, a way for me to train mentally, for concentration, for breathing deeply, breathing out deeply, and things like that. So I personally am a guy who really cherishes the bowings. We call it reiho in Japanese. All these, the manners, the courtesy, the discipline. I personally, what should I say, focus on this a lot. But I'm really, really sad when I go to these big dojos with a lot of students. Sometimes they are the biggest dojo in Kyoto, and then the top instructors, they're literally talking about lunch or whatever their break or what coffee they're going to be drinking later during break time while they do the bowing. Yes, due to the katana, to the shrine inside the dojo. Personally, I really, really do not like this. Yes. And that's a very nice way of saying it. Yeah. My feelings are a little bit stronger than that, yes. But I personally really do not like seeing that. Do not like listening to that, yes. So I really feel that the grand masters, the great instructors of IAIDO in Kyoto, which is where IAIDO is, the population is rather big, this is the current situation. Yes, and it's very sad as an IAIDO trainee. Yeah. The point I want to make out is that there is no correct in IAIDO, first of all. So what I believe in, as I always say, what I believe in towards IAIDO, what I want to achieve through IAIDO is just my dreams and my ways of seeing IAIDO. There is no right or wrong, first of all. So that is one thing I really want to make clear, because there is, you never actually have a chance to use a katana to cut someone or kill someone today. You can't ever test out your skills. I know that you could do some kata with the wooden swords. It's practice kata. Yes. And there are those fukuro shinai where you actually can hit each other, to test the skills. But that again is very different. Like kendo, of course, is also different from using a real sword to fight. So technically it's impossible to see if you are correct or not. Yes. So I just really wanted to make this really clear. Yeah. Every instructor in IAIDO will say, my theory of IAIDO is correct. My theory of IAIDO is correct. No, mine is correct. No, you guys are just all fighting imaginary enemies, right? It's a kata. You might think that your technique is perfect. It's because your imaginary enemy is being defeated for you, if that makes sense, right? So you can never test that. Yes, it really depends on your opponent, how skilled he or she is. What grade of katana that person has or weapon that person has. It's impossible to say that I'm always correct and that person is always wrong, right? Yes. And the thing that leads from here is that these characteristics of IAIDO, there is no answer to it. The skills that you learn in IAIDO can't be actually used in real life. These characteristics, now this is where KYUDO comes in. Really, it's really similar to KYUDO, right? Because KYUDO, you never can actually, if you ever seen KYUDO before, I hope you can take a look at any videos. You can just look them up on YouTube. I think you can find some videos of people training in KYUDO, but the procedures of drawing the bow and arrow in KYUDO are really, really slow. Yes, each movement are all fixed. It's very precise, and it's more like a ritual. And we call it a budo, which means martial art in translated to English. But just like IAIDO, it's really impossible to call it a martial art because you cannot attack anyone with such skills that you learn in KYUDO. So it's the same, in IAIDO and KYUDO. They're both called martial arts, but you really can't defeat or fight anyone with it. Yes, unless it's kenjutsu, by the way. Kenjutsu is actually the skills to fight with someone, but we're talking about IAIDO right now. Yes, where we mainly only train fighting imaginary enemies, doing kata or cutting mats that are standing there for you to be cut, right? Yes, but the two main big differences between IAIDO and KYUDO that seem very similar, yes, is there's two things. Number one is how much they cherish the bowings and respect the leiho I was talking about, yes. And number two is if there is a way to actually prove your skills or not. These are the two main differences between IAIDO and KYUDO. Yep. So KYUDO practitioners, KYUDO federations, the instructors, the masters, they understand fully that KYUDO is not an effective way to actually fight with someone. They fully understand that it's more like a ritual. It's more of training your mind, your heart, your mental strength than actually being able to fight someone. They fully understand it. That's the reason why they cherish the bowing, the appreciation, the courtesy, the discipline much more than IAIDO. I know that because I trained in KYUDO for a little bit more than a year, right? Yes. So there would absolutely be no one talking during the bowings of KYUDO because they know that if they lack respect, if they lack, the proper bowing procedures, there is no meaning in KYUDO because the skills you learn in KYUDO are useless in a way. Does that make sense? If you don't really focus and appreciate these bowing procedures and the mind, if you don't see these things are important, there really is no meaning of you being able to shoot a arrow towards a target. Yes. And KYUDO practitioners, the people who have carried on the KYUDO culture, understand that fully. And you can see it if you go and see any of the KYUDO games. You can watch a YouTube video. If you watch one of those ritualistic ones, they do it really, really gracefully, and it's beautiful. And number two, yes, again, there is actually a way to prove your skills. Yes. So unlike, again, going back to IAIDO, you don't have a way to prove your skills. You could say that your theory is perfect, but there is no way to prove it. KYUDO has a way to prove it, right? You actually need to hit that arrow on to the target, yes. So these two things are completely different. No matter how even the instructors, the masters are in a higher rank, they need to be able to actually hit that target to be called an instructor, a master, right? Yes. You can't just be, going around and teaching everyone and yourself not being able to hit the target at all, right? That wouldn't make any sense. No one would respect you, right? But then how about IAIDO? Now going back to the story of IAIDO again, yes. IAIDO definitely does not cherish and respect leiho, the bowing, as much as KYUDO does. Again, the top instructors, like in their 8th dan, their 7th dan, the highest ranks, literally talks during the bowing, laughing and everything. And also, number two, this is really critical too, there is no way for those instructors to prove their skills. Which means, this is very, very scary, which means that you just have to train long and then you will be called an instructor. Yes. Because all the koryu, for example, the original traditional kata in each ryuha, there is no correct way to do it, right? Yes, again, there is no way to test your skills actually. So you can just say I've trained for 20 years and that gives you the right to boast and act like your boss, and act like you're important. And you don't have to prove anything, yes, because there is no target to hit. There is no game you need to win, There's no points you need to get, yes. Unlike the other martial arts. Like judo, you need to win a game. You need to actually be able to do that move. In kendo, you need to actually win. Same, right? Yes. In karate, in kyudo, it's all the same. IAIDO doesn't have a way you need to prove that you're actually worthy enough to be called an instructor. Yes. And I'm not here to say that all instructors and masters in IAIDO are all terrible or anything. I'm just saying that this is a very, very important fundamental problem, disorder of IAIDO that we really need to focus on. All IAIDO trainees really need to understand this and rethink the purposes and why we are doing in IAIDO, why we train in IAIDO. And again, it comes back to the conclusion today. There's a lot we need to learn from KYUDO. Now, I really think that if IAIDO continues to be like this right now, during the trainings, the instructors, hitting each other, attacking each other, slandering each other, these attitudes, we are not going to be having a lot of people training in the future. The population of IAIDO in Japan are declining every year, and people who first start training in IAIDO see these things. I'm very, very sure they're not going to be liking it, of course. I wouldn't have liked it if I didn't meet my instructor first. Yes, I would probably just give up doing IAIDO because I do not like that kind of atmosphere. Yes. So, as a conclusion, there's a lot that IAIDO needs to learn from KYUDO. Yes. And if IAIDO wants to carry on its culture, if IAIDO wants to say that we are a really important culture that carries on the heart of samurai, we really, really need to understand that there are a lot of problems, yes, disorders, and that we need to learn. We need to be humble and learn from other Budo martial arts. Yes. So, in the future, I'm hoping to try to sort that out. I'm really sorry. I'm pretty sure my story went all over the place. I hope you understood. If there's any parts of the story that I just talked about, if you didn't understand what it meant, please let me know in the comments. Yes, thank you so much. And in the future, if I ever actually have a chance to open my own IAIDO dojo, some people might call my dojo, my training boring, not exciting and things like that. But I really want to create a new form, a new style, not a completely new style, but like a new way of teaching IAIDO that really focuses on what IAIDO focuses on, Yes. And I really want to, take in the teachings of Zen training, for example, Zen meditation, and these things too. Yes. So I am very far away from actually being able to open my dojo, yes, but I do have that image in mind. So I hope you can look forward to my progress. Yes. And once again, thank you so much. I can't believe I've been talking for about 18 minutes now. Thank you so much for listening to such a long story. Yes. And then this will be the end of the video, but as I always say, the ultimate goal of my life is to make all Japan lovers' dreams come true. Now I know there are a lot of people outside of Japan who have their hopes and dreams here. Yes, they might want to study Japanese, they might want to travel to Japan and see the nature and culture, they might want to train in our traditional culture and martial arts as we were just talking about and things. But I'm very afraid that Japan might not be able to provide these things in the near future because, as you see in my videos, we are facing a lot of social problems, we are losing our traditional culture, and like I talked about today, if we continue this attitude in every traditional culture, obviously we're going to perish, yes, very soon. So I want to preserve, but also evolve our traditional culture like it has in the past few hundred years. Many people who see traditional culture to be so important, they tend to say that this is a tradition that has been protected for 400 years. No, it obviously has changed many, many times through 400 years, especially traditional culture like tea ceremony. There are people like, no, that's not the traditional way to do it. It has changed. It has changed. 400 years changes society a lot, for example. Even 250 years changes society a lot. Tea ceremony, from the day it started, from today, it changed a lot. It needs to change today as well. every other traditional culture, including IAIDO and everything else too. So that's the reason why I always say I want to preserve but evolve the traditional culture too. Yes. And lastly, I also want to help out the younger generation who are suffering from the social problems, as I said earlier. I want them to have a brighter future. I want to do everything I can for that as well. Yep. And to achieve this huge dream, this huge dream, my first step is to achieve 1 million subscribers by January 2023 on my main channel. Yes, it'd be great if you could give me likes and comments on the main videos too. Yes, and I just really appreciate your support, everyone. Thank you so much. Okay, so then please look forward to this story to become a main video. To be honest, there might be some Japanese IAIDO trainees or instructors watching my videos too, but I'm willing to state what I want to say. Someone needs to say this, and I know that there are a lot of people who have realized it, and they don't say it because they're scared. But if people are going to be kicking me out of the Federation because I said something that should be said, I'm willing to leave anytime. Yes. If that's what they're going to be doing, then I'm not going to be staying, to such a, what should I say, collapsed federation association. I'll be happy to leave anytime, and learn in a different style or a different organization. So I am going to be saying what I need to, yes, because what I want is real, what's actually good for the trainees, and a brighter future for the younger generations. That's what I want, so I'm willing to fight for it. Yes. Okay, then everyone, thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you again in the next podcast. Bye-bye.